So you've rooted your K1 or variant and a new firmware update popped up. If you're confused about what to do next, I'm going to show you how to do this. It's pretty simple. First off, don't update just yet. You will have to factory reset properly in order for this to go smoothly, so just cancel this for now. And head over to the helper script GitHub page, which you should already be familiar with. If not, the link is in the description. Just follow along. Now, if you've made any modifications to your printer config file, you will first want to do a backup from the backup menu. So go to your SSH terminal software and log into your printer via SSH. Little tip if you didn't know, pressing the up arrow key here will cycle through previous commands. So I'll just press up until I see this command to run the script and press enter. If this doesn't work for you for whatever reason, just copy over the command from the GitHub page like you've probably done before the first time you rooted your machine. From the main menu, we'll choose 4, Backup and Restore, then 1 to back up Clipper configuration files. Now if you like, you can also back up the database files, but as you'll see later on, when I tried to restore this one, it did not work. And in my case, I've made no changes to any of these, so my update needed no backing up or restoring. If this is the case for you, or if you don't mind starting fresh, just skip this backup process, as well as the next step when we download the backup files. Now you should download the backup files we just made. It's not required, as the restore function will look for them in the same place and restore them automatically from the restore menu, but I like to keep a copy just in case. We want to go over to our web interface for the printer, and go to our configuration files. I'm using mainsail, so it's under the machine on the left. In Fluid, select the configuration icon on the left panel to get here. Now you'll see the backup files that were made when we did the backup. Select them both and hit the download icon to save them to your computer. Another quick tip here, if it doesn't seem to do anything, and they don't end up in your download folder, make sure your browser allows pop-ups from this site. This happened to me and drove me nuts until I realized what was happening. When you select both of these files to download, one zip file containing both of them will be downloaded. You can see them both here inside the zip file. Now that the backup is out of the way, we can now restore our machine to factory defaults. Now doing it from the machines menu seemed to work for me in the past, but the instructions on the helper script GitHub clearly state that it is important to do it their way, and not from this menu. So let's follow the helper script instructions instead. Since we are rooted and we have the helper script installed, we'll use this option for reset from SSH connection with helper script. This is really simple. If you're not already logged into your machine via SSH, do that first, then copy this command and paste it into your command line. Now your machine will restart. Upon startup, it will alert you of the new firmware update, which we are now ready to install. Go ahead and press download. Once again, it will restart after installing. Now you can skip the calibration for now until you have rooted again. But I always go ahead and finish this setup, then root, and then do it again. As you know, this takes a while. When it's done, we can now reroute. Select root account information and go through the waiting game steps. Keep in mind or write down the password Creality_2023. Now I'd like to check my Wi-Fi address to see if it has changed. Typically it won't, especially if you've given your machine a static IP address in your router such as I have. But if it has changed, you'll want to jot down the new address for login via SSH. Now if yours is anything like my K1 machines, they take a day and a half to become reachable, regardless that they're connected. I wish they had an Ethernet port like the K1 Max, which has no issues like this. So just keep trying until it finally responds. I'll try the web interface, which at this point, keep in mind, does not include the 4408 or 4409 at the end, as we haven't yet installed Fluid or Mainsail. So we're looking for the default Creality interface, and I'll keep retrying in the SSH terminal until I'm in. You should already know how to do the rest since you were already rooted. You're basically just doing that again at this point. And there are many better tutorials than this one out there to show you how to do this. But I'll include it in here just for the sake of completion. Back at the GitHub helper script page, We simply copy the command to install the script first, paste it over, and go. After that completes, we'll copy the command to run the script and paste that into our terminal. If you need to restore your backup, do it after the installation processes. Press 1 for the install menu and install the essentials. Keep in mind that fluid and mainsail are not both required, only one. So if you prefer one over the other, then just install that one unless you want both. It doesn't hurt anything to keep them both on board. Personally, I use mainsail and will not be installing fluid, so I'll choose 1 first, Moonraker and GIX, and then 3 to install mainsail. Now under Utilities, I'll install 4, ENTware, as it will be required by other things that I'm installing next. And also 5, the Clipper G code shell command, which I don't show here, but I needed to install it later because it was required by something, I forget what. I also installed the Moonraker time lapse, even though I have yet to figure out how to use it. So I'm doing it now since it'll be needed if I ever get around to getting it working. I use Mobile Raker to monitor my printers from my phone when I'm away, so the Mobile Raker companion will be required. And for some reason, after that installation, it exits the helper script menu. Simply press the arrow key as stated before, or paste the command back in, run the script again and continue. Then press 1 to get back to the install menu. I didn't show it here, but I also install Obico as another means of monitoring my printers. Aside from that, anything else you wish or need to install, do it now, then exit the menu and type sudo reboot to restart your machine. To restore your backup, log back in via SSH and run the helper script again. This time we'll be choosing menu option 4, backup and restore. Then it's simply a matter of choosing the restore options. 2 for the configuration files, and 4 for the Moonraker database if you back that up, and if it works for you. I get an error and it never worked for me. It states I need to back it up first, which we know we've done, but it seems not to care. But it won't really matter as nothing was done to my machine to require a backup in the first place. Now we'll exit the helper script menu completely, then reboot for the last time with sudo reboot. When you come back in fluid or mainsail, you may have to go into the settings menu to re-add your camera. I always seem to have to do this. In mainsail, just go into your settings, scroll down to webcams and add webcam. It should automatically add your default chamber camera, assuming you have one installed. Then just name it and save the settings. In fluid, select your settings icon on the left and choose cameras. Press the add camera button, and same as mainsail, should automatically add your default system camera. Then you're good to go. And that's really it. Yes, it's annoying to have to go through all this in order to install a firmware update, but at least we have the option to root and use our printer how we like rather than being forced into Creality's cloud and interface. And should you ever want to update the firmware again in the future, it will be the same procedure.